Okay, team, let's talk about the first lab, getting started with R. Here's the assignment document, the PDF that I have loaded. You're going to, just an introduction to what this is. You're going to go to the R's website, rproject.org, to download R, and then you'll install that. And then you'll download RStudio, which runs off of this core program called R. So RStudio is kind of just a more user-friendly interface to do the scripting that we'll be doing. So here's the R's website. Take a look at the download tab over here and then CRAN, and then click on any one of these links and it'll give you to a download site. So I'll just go Canada and then download R for Windows, Linux, or Macs, whatever your flavor. So just click on that and then go through the install process. Once you have downloaded and installed R, you can go do RStudio. The RStudio website is where you download RStudio. Just go to the download tab. Choose a version. We're just going to do the desktop, the free version. And you can download it for whichever operating system you use. So once you've downloaded and installed R, you can do RStudio and go through all of those download steps. All right. Now that you've downloaded R and RStudio, we can open RStudio, and that's what this is. We've got the console. We'll kind of ignore the terminal for now, and you'll get to learn these screens in a minute. But you've got, this is where your variables will come and different plots and other things. So if you just want to do a regular script in R, you can do File, New R script. And this is where you can enter scripts and codes, etc. You can evaluate them, and then the console will give you the results. But we'll be doing RMarkdown. And so if you come down to the console, really the first step you need to do is called install.packages. So if you start typing, it'll give you the hint, and you can either press tab or click on it. So install packages, and then we'll use quotation marks, and that's RMarkdown. So make sure it's in quotation marks and just press enter, and it's going to go through. Oh, it is case sensitive, my friends. There we go, all lowercase. So it's going to go through a bunch of steps to install RMarkdown. I've already installed it, but we'll just let it do that. Now that you've run that command to install the RMarkdown package, you can create a new RMarkdown notebook, file, new file, and it should appear here. If it doesn't, you might need to close RStudio and open back up again. But you should be able to go to new file, RMarkdown. This is where you can enter information. So we can say lab 0. That's fine, author. Go ahead and check Word. That's going to be the easiest way to export RMarkdown documents. If you have LaTeX or MyTeX installed and like to work with that stuff, you can do PDFs. It looks a little cooler, but it doesn't really matter. So we'll click on Word and then press OK. And so it gives you now, it says untitled, so you need to go ahead and save that as something somewhere. So you can call it lab 0. And I'll just save it to my desktop. So now it's lab0.rmd, that's your RMarkdown notebook. So this header here has the title, your name, the date, and the outputs. So you can leave that stuff alone. Just to orient you on what we have here. Here's a code chunk that's in gray. This is where you can enter code and evaluate it. So this is just some stuff that they give you that will not show console outputs. So we can kind of ignore that. If the double hashtag gives you a header, this is an RMarkdown document. When you can enter information, and this is just basically a template of what stuff looks like. When you're ready to process something, you can knit the document. We'll do that in a second, and that'll produce the Word document. But if you have a code chunk, like this code chunk right here, you can click on a line or highlight a command and press Control plus Enter. And what that'll do is evaluate that command in the code chunk. And so cars is a data set based on cars, and summary is a command that will allow you to give a statistical summary of the data. So cars has two different variables, speed and distance, and it gives you the summary statistics for that. Plot is a very simple command. Pressure is another data set that's kind of prepackaged. You can press the play button over here and it'll do the same thing. So here's the relationship between pressure and temperature. And this is air. We don't have any units here, shame on them. That's okay. So the idea of RMarkdown is within RStudio, you can enter code and evaluate it by pressing that play button. It'll evaluate the whole code chunk, or you can put your cursor on a line and do Control plus Enter, and it'll evaluate it just that one line. So this is a kind of a template to get you started. Let's do knit. And what knit will do is it will go through all of these, the text and the code, and it will spit out a nicely formatted notebook. So here it is. And you'll note that the code chunk is included. So here's the command, and here is the output, all in that code chunk. And you can see that there's a gray box. And then the text is outside of that code chunk. And you can see your header as well. So here's your header, here's your text, and then here's your code chunk. If you want to make a new code chunk, all you have to do is go find it's not the quotation mark, it's the, I don't know what to call it, but on my Windows keyboard, it's right, and it's in the top left corner underneath the tilde sign. So you go 1, 2, 3, and then R. So it knows that it's an R code chunk. And then to end it, you go 1, 2, 3. And then I can type in anything I want to here. So B is equal to 1, A is equal to 2, Y is equal to A times X plus B. And then we can make a vector for X. X is equal to, note that the equal sign and the arrow sign, sorry, this error that you make with the minus sign and that caret looking thing, less than or equal to or less than sign, is the same as an equal sign. And you'll learn in the tutorials how to make vectors. Here's just an easy one. 1:10. So I'll make a vector from 1 to 10 of integers. And then I can plot all of this as X and Y. And I'll make it a line. And don't worry if you're not following all this, I'm just kind of showing it in an example. There's my nice little line there. So I just made a code chunk, I made some variables, and I went ahead and plotted it. All right, so that is getting started with R. Take a look at the tutorials and you can go rocking and rolling.